It feels like it's been a long time coming, but exciting, and we've had it on pre-order for almost 8 weeks, I think, which was, a really great way to kind of build momentum and feel like it was coming. But for the publication day to actually be here and for everybody to be receiving their books or them being posted out is, yeah, exciting. The book itself, I guess when you see Nick and James writing a book and you've seen like greats like Jonah Barrington and Peter Marshall, and they've all written books and they're all men, you're sort of looking at kind of squash and like, well, who's sort of voicing an opinion that's worthy of like, a young girl being able to pick up a book. And I hope that boys will read the book as well, but you know that it's possible because you've seen it being done before. And I think the other really big reason for me personally was, and I talk about this a lot in the book, about how many amazing books by male and female athletes that I've picked up and read over the course of my career that have, literally helped me win tournaments. And there's been a couple of books that spring to mind that I've read that book and they've literally inspired me to go on and win tournaments. And I kind of thought that if I've got a story or something that I've been through, that someone can pick up a book and take that and be inspired to train a bit harder, to dedicate a bit more, to win a tournament, to win a match, then that's totally worth doing it. And as anyone who followed my career will know, there wasn't a huge amount of success early on. Juniors was very good within like a British, the British level, but there was a long slog where, you're just traveling the world, winning a match or two and going home. And I was definitely a late peaker, and that's something that, maybe is coming through in the book as well, and especially with so many young Egyptians coming through, that there's not just one path for everybody. It can be many different paths depending on your style and your maturity and where you're from and loads of factors. I think that, for having all this reputation of being really mentally strong and having it all together, that maybe people might realise how I didn't quite have it all together in the best possible way. That I don't think anybody's got it all together. Everybody gets nervous, everybody gets worried, everybody is kind of fighting their own inner battles, either on the court or off the court, and no one knows what those are. The opponents don't know, the friends quite often don't know, and definitely the fans and spectators don't know. So I think that when you speak to a lot of people about nerves and worries and, not having the mental strength that they think that they should, that this sort of blows it open, that you can still achieve and more likely to be achieving in that way. That, I think if everybody was open and honest, it takes, perhaps a strange character to not really have any nerves or to not have any worries, and that's totally normal. So I talk a lot about that in the book. I talk from a female perspective on kind of body image and how that's changed over the years, and the way that I've perhaps looked at myself as my body image changed from when I started on tour to, going through everything that a female athlete does, handling periods and injuries and everything like that. So there's a real, hopefully something that's a bit more honest about the book, that is a bit different to perhaps what people have read before, or certainly, obviously, with no female squash players writing, that's a bit different as well. Probably one of the things I'm most proud of, the longevity of my career, and sort of coming on tour with the Cassie Jackmans and the, Carol Owens. I remember kind of being at tournaments with them, Sarah Fitzgerald, and then obviously into like kind of Vanessa, Nicole, the Grinhams, and then obviously me becoming the older one, and it being, Raneem, Tayeb, Gohar, Camille. I don't want to miss anyone out. It's just been a really, long career, and I've had to adapt and change. And I think, yeah, when you talk about stories in the book, when Shabini burst on the scene, and I played the World Championships that I won against her, and she was still in goggles and she was still a junior. And she just looked like she was having a whale of a time, and she was, beating Nicole in the semi-final and then playing a World Championship final, and I had all this pressure on me, and I managed to win. To then go to, a few years later where we played again in the World Championship final, and I went 2-0 up, and I think just feeling like that kind of event it had so much riding on it, and I went 2-0 up in the final. There was a car on it, whoever won. The world #1 ranking was on it. If I won, I kept my world #1. If I lost, she took it. And there was so much on this World Championship final, and to go 2-0 up and then lose it was really devastating and really hard to take at the time. And I just talk a lot about bouncing back from that in the book, and I think that's a really good story for people to kind of resonate, because it would have been so easy to spiral on the back of that loss. And just talking about that longevity and the changes, that not only the changes in the players but the changes in the scoring and the changes in the tin, and constantly trying to look for new ideas. And I'm, you know, more than anything really grateful to the team around me for that. And that's one of the things I'm really proud about in the book as well. There's chapters from the people who were part of that journey. So DP and Danny, when the tin changed, when we had specific opponents, we were trying to literally change my game to try and overcome, trying to overcome making sure that I could still recover the front of the court when the tin went down. And they talk a lot about kind of what it was like working with me, and then Mark Campbell and the psychologists that I work with, Peter, just making sure that, you know, everything had, we were covering every single box in terms of how I was improving my squash and how I was making sure that, you know, I was pushing my game on. And it never feels like you're someone who's kind of adapting to the situation, but I guess you just are when you're honest with yourself and when you're looking for improvement all of the time, and you're not happy with losing to these new players that are bringing new things. You go back and look at yourself and you look at how you're training. And you know, it's credit to Danny, who's, you know, out there and a bit eccentric at times when it comes to ideas and squash, and he would take those to DP, and together they'd, you know, concoct a plan to like get me on board, because I'm methodical and train the right way. And we tried everything kind of looking back, and there was real weird and wonderful ways, and then there was ways, you know, kind of getting hold of a ball machine was such a big thing in 2017. Just spent hours and hours and hours on a ball machine, repeating shots and kind of working with things. So I think it was just huge, constantly having that honesty. And that's what I talk about a lot in the book, about constantly looking at yourself, reflecting, where can you improve? And a lot of people, I think, lose and want to brush it under the carpet and look the other way and just carry on. I'll get there in the end, time will happen. And what they don't realise is that people are coming up behind them, and you know, if you're not improving, you're basically going backwards the way that the game is now. So it was credit to them really on constantly keeping me looking forward and constantly trying to adapt when, you know, I got my arse kicked or something. So the book is called All In, and it's available in limited edition hardback and paperback, and it's available on my website, which comes directly from us, and saw how lovely it's all packaged up yesterday, so that's brilliant. It's also available on Amazon, both in paperback and Kindle, and later this month we hope it's out on audiobook. So if you want to listen to my northern tones, it's great. I spent a lot of time in the studio recording that. I had a brilliant opportunity because of the publishers having all the facilities to do that, and having all the guests come in and record their own chapter was pretty special as well. So that'll hopefully be out towards the end of the month as well.